What are some of the key indicators for VGK this upcoming season as the Golden Knights look to replicate, I should say, their championship season? Some key dates ahead to forecast. We're not forecasting the weather. We're forecasting some key dates. Coming up next right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from cloudy Las Vegas, where we're having a hurricane, which is really bizarre. Your team every day, and we appreciate you making us your first listen. Thanks again for following us and for subscribing on our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel, pick your Super Bowl winner. Get bonus bets each and every day, and each and every time your team wins. Go to FanDuel.com for more information /locked on. They also have those great NHL and VGK propositions. So, Chris, you wanted to talk today about some key indicators, some dates and such, as we kind of look for VGK, maybe as benchmarks for where they were this past season, to try to replicate their success from a season ago. And so the Golden Knights obviously need that fast start again and a strong finish. And that's the way that it went this past season. And that's why they were successful. And it did come down to the final day of the season. In the NHL, you always want to start fast and you always want to get out and make sure that you are at least in a playoff position by American Thanksgiving, right? That's one of the key dates there that you have to look at. A strong indicator is if you are in a playoff position by American Thanksgiving, chances are you're going to do well and you'll be there perhaps in the end. And VGK started off very strong this past season, 16-4-1, and they were in first place by Thanksgiving Day, on Thanksgiving Day, I should say. And so is that something that they'll shoot for? Do they use that record as a barometer? Can they be that good? Can they get off to that quick start once again?
No. I hope they get off to that quick start. We definitely hope they get off to that quick start. And the fact that I say I don't think they're going to get off to that quick start is not an indicator of how I think the season is going to go by any means. Stanley Cup hangover, short summer, health issues for a roster that's, it was an older roster last season. I think they ranked 11th or 10th as far as age of their starting day roster. It's in that ballpark. A little more wear and tear, a little more liquid wear and tear from the summer, I guess you can say, stuff along those lines.
Right, 16 beers in a cup.
16 beers in a cup, and then they drink the whole thing and pass to the next person and start over again.
Why don't you make this the name of our podcast?
16 beers in a cup?
Yeah, 16 beers in the cup.
All right. Only if we drop an F-bomb every third word, otherwise it'll fail.
All right, it would fail.
It would fail. So going off from the start, it would be nice to see him get off to a good start. I don't think they're going to get off to a bad start. I don't think they're going to get off to a great start. I think it's going to be a normal start for a team coming off of a Stanley Cup victory. The Thanksgiving Day benchmark, sure, that's important because that is an indicator, as you stated. You see where you are on Thanksgiving. That's the first time when the coaches really sit down. It's like the quarter pole of the horse race, right? It doesn't necessarily say how the race is going to end, but you got to set yourself up so you can have whatever type of finish. The two dates that really kind of matter for me, December 28th. So that's really going to take us up to the end of the calendar year. And then it gets weird because they got the game against Seattle on New Year's Day. So they got 3 full days off. Then they play the outdoor game. And then there's 2 more full days off. So that's going to be a real weird stretch for the team to adjust. So the other date I wrote down was January 27th. The team's going to be fine between the start of the season and the 28th of December. Probably, in the top 3 in the division. Not worried about them not making the playoffs necessarily, but they're going to be okay. The team is going to finish the season pretty strong. I think there's going to be some load management. A lot of veterans know how to manage themselves for a long season. That stretch leading up to the All-Star break, the 29 or 30 or 31 days between the 28th of December and the 27th of January is really the key stretch for me to see how the team will do, because that's when things went to crap last year. Call it what it is. It was bad. That was a bad run leading up to the All-Star break. And thankfully the Golden Knights got hot at the end, or they maybe lose to Edmonton in the Pacific, and maybe the playoffs play out a little differently if they don't have home ice advantage against the Oilers.
So you're complaining that VGK actually has to work on a holiday this year, like on New Year's Day?
Yes, I'm If that's how you want to spin that, Tony, then yes, I am
that's
complaining.
Exactly how we're going to spin that.
If you're going to spin that, go ahead.
And we remember that VGK sputtered right around the All-Star break, limped into the break, but then the key point of this season was the turnaround in the second half when they returned back to work. I wanted to ask you a question here because it's something that I've thought about. With all the changes in Boston, right? And then in the Eastern Conference, those teams will beat each other up on the regular. Does it come down to VGK perhaps and Colorado for the President's Cup there? Do you think that could be a possibility?
Why is everyone so high on Colorado? I mean that's kind of jokingly and kind of not jokingly. I don't understand how
who do you like in that division?
It's not about the division. I'm coming from a totality standpoint. I think Dallas can definitely be the better team between Dallas and Colorado. I mean, honestly, I never even thought about it like that until you just said it. And I think Dallas can easily, is not the word to use, but I think Dallas has a better shot to win the Central than Colorado, let alone Colorado being the chalk to win the Stanley Cup. I just don't understand it. I don't. Maybe we'll have the Locked On Avalanche crew grill me for it, but there's just weird things happening in Colorado, right? You had a lot of injuries last year. You had
injuries,
distractions. Right. You have what is it, Landeskog, who's going to be out again for the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So and they've addressed it to a degree, but I don't know. I mean, if I'm gonna back a team in the Central, it's Dallas. Pete DeBoer, fine, whatever, but that still equates to a good regular season and at least a playoff round victory at the very least, maybe even 2 rounds.
Another big indicator for teams and for VGK will be the trade deadline. And if VGK is in the hunt, obviously they stand pat and we've got our core and we're not going to touch that and the misfits and blah, blah, blah. Okay, at the trade deadline in March this season, could it be an important date for the Vegas Golden Knights? And also, though, if they are in the hunt, they're going to want to take it to the next level. And if they need to replace someone, of course, on this roster or bolster the roster like they did with Will Bluger and Barbashev this past year, then they're going to go out and do it.
Something I said on Vegas Hockey Now. There you go. I got a shirt, but hold on.
Free shirt.
Hold on. No. I got it made.
Oh,
I NASCAR'd myself up a little bit.
Dang,
I NASCAR'd myself a little bit. So,
are
people
those on sale anywhere? No.
At the T-shirt diner at Sunset and Galleria, if you tell them what logos you want put on the shirt. But I'll make some of these and sell them. I actually do have a Shopify store now, but that's another story for another time.
No, cool.
Just my card business and stuff. All right. Okay. So moving forward, the question was the trade deadline.
The Golic Empire is growing. Man.
Yes, exactly. It might really be March of So Madness come March 1st, right? And
it could be March of So Madness.
It could be March of So Madness, definitely. The first point, if the team isn't doing well, and it's not just March of So, but Stevenson, Alec Martinez, there are unrestricted free agents that certainly would command a premium to be rentals to help a team on a Stanley Cup possible run. If the Golden Knights have a healthy season, which I don't know if that's possible the way things go in Vegas, but hopefully variance is on the Golden Knights side for once, because it hasn't been for the last 2 years. But if it's a healthy season, there's no money to do any trades. I mean, obviously, McCrimmon could move a piece to improve, but I just don't see what the path could possibly be to. I mean, who's going to take out the Golden Knights? Won't trade Alec Martinez at the trade deadline if they're making a run for a cup, and no one's going to pay full price for Alec Martinez, at least his $5 million contract, and give anything in return that's going to help the Golden Knights to try and win a Stanley Cup. You're not going to see him ship Chandler Stevenson or Jonathan Marchessault if the team is in position to win a Stanley Cup. Now, injuries. This is obviously where things get a little kinky, right? Someone keeps pointing out the word of the day I use, and so we're going to go with kinky today. It might be the second time I've done this. If Mark Stone goes down for a long period of time, if Alec Martinez, if any one of those $5 million plus pieces of this roster go down, of course, McCrimmon is going to do some shopping, whether it's one player, whether it's, an improvement of 2 or 3 depth pieces or both in the case of last season. Something will happen. And this is where I put in one of my Vegas Hockey Now articles, I passively blamed Mark Stone's back for the reason Riley Smith is no longer in Vegas.
Dang.
There's not a path last season, Tony, and hockey world. There was not a path for the Golden Knights to acquire Ivan Barbashev last season unless it was for an injury. I know his contract was, less than what it is now, of course, but what would the Golden Knights have done to free up the amount of salary cap space needed? So that's the point that I'm making when I say Mark Stone's back is to blame why Riley Smith is not here anymore. And it's also maybe to credit why they won a Stanley Cup, to be fair, too.
Okay, we're talking about indicators and such. And so trade deadline by March, whatever that is.
I think it's March 1st.
Right, March 1st. Okay. Stevenson and Marchessault, will one or both be under contract? Will they get an extension by then?
No. An extension by then? No.
No.
Will they
Josh
be on
Jacobs,
the team?
these guys. They're
right,
just
exactly.
Wait it
now,
out.
Will they be on the Golden Knights past the trade deadline might be the bigger question. I think the answer is also yes. Like I said, if the Golden Knights are in playoff position, if the team even is in the 8th seed, they got a shot to win the Stanley Cup. Let's be completely clear. Health pending. If they're faltering in the regular season, but at least get into the dance, the team's got a shot to win the Stanley Cup. 8 seeds do and can win the Stanley Cup. Florida Panthers, had a shot last year. Obviously, they ran into the buzzsaw of the Golden Knights. Back to the situation with March 1st and such, the Golden Knights are minus 600 on DraftKings, and I think it's the same number on FanDuel to make the playoffs. So there's not a world that exists where Stevenson or Alec Martinez or Marchessault are traded unless the team is possibly way out of the Stanley Cup playoff hunt, which very unlikely. DraftKings and FanDuel agree with that statement, but we've seen crazy things happen.
All right, don't hold this next teaser against me. We're going to talk about where is the Stanley Cup, and just hang on, stay with me. Gordie Howe joins a VGK Cup celebration. Back with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights.
Wasn't bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time that they win during the course of the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on the point spreads, on player props, on totals, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start to earn bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Take some time to visit FanDuel and include the money lines, the props, everything around your team. We are back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Don't forget, coming up later on, we've got WTF, What the Friday around, and find out. Okay, so 2 days ago, the Cup was in Cape Breton with former Golden Knight Riley Smith. And that is somewhere in Nova Scotia, I found out. Thank you, Google, by the way. And, it was on a boat, of course. And then they were in some area where they had a nice little boat party and drinking out of the cup and all that. So that was pretty cool. And
16 beers?
16 beers, or okay, the ounces of jungle juice, we don't know the equation there, how much jungle juice could
Let's
go.
go with 12-ounce beers, 16 times 12, so 160, and then
Is
another 184.
Is Everclear a
The
part of that recipe?
good band, great band, Santa Monica, good song.
Yeah, okay, but Everclear, right? That like liquidy, clear liquor that sneaks up on you.
I've never touched Everclear. No.
Oh boy, that was a big time.
I've never had Goldschlagers either.
Oh, you're good. Smart man.
Southern Comfort.
Then, of course, I'm still getting over Vegas Bjorn with the cup and all that and the bad videos. So
he was dancing with his mom in the Stanley Cup. Give him a break, Tony. Give him a break. Okay. When you win a Stanley Cup, you do what you want.
So back to Gordie Howe, who's passed away.
Solid transition.
Okay. Gordie Howe's ashes, his ashes were there as a part of Keith Veronesi's Cup Day in Connecticut. He is the director of scouting operations for VGK. And Marty Howe, the son of Gordie, brought the ashes. So I found out through extensive research, Gordie Howe has 5 like Stanley Cup shaped urns with his ashes in. And they brought one to this celebration. Keith actually.
Why 5, Tony? I'm cutting you off. Why 5? Why do you need 5 urns?
Because it's like the cup and it has to travel around the world, I think, to go to celebrations. And I don't know. Don't ask me why.
So the research. You didn't do enough research.
I know. So I was busy putting my meteorological skills.
You were doing TMZ. Stop it.
I was doing TMZ. I was trying to play the meteorologist and figure out the path.
You know how in Illinois we used to forecast the weather? You
right.
you open the window and you stick your head out the window. That's how you forecast the weather.
I like that. That's much more accurate than here. And please, if you are tuning in and you're one of those TV stations, turn the stinking microphones on when you're going, let's go to so-and-so, and he's got a report. Okay.
That's fair.
So Keith Veronesi's parents, they hosted this celebration. They were friends with the Howes and the Veroneses, and it's pretty cool because Keith Veronesi, actually, the director of scouting operations for VGK, he used to do some yard work and some odd jobs for Gordie Howe. So that's a pretty cool story. And one other little wrinkle here. Did not know this. We think that the names will be on the Stanley Cup in perpetuity, but they are not. Oh, is this a good transition into WTF? So Gordie Howe's name is no longer on the cup. From 1954 and 55 with the Red Wings. But what they did was they put a band over that team. So someday, and perhaps it'll be in 50, 60 years, when I'm about 127. That's bad math. Okay. Someday VGK's name will not be on that cup. So I just wanted to go there, but I think that's a pretty cool.
Let's say win it like every 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, keep it going.
What is the amount of years like when they put the new? The ring isn't the right word. Like the new. Forgive me.
A band. I guess a band. I think they put a band, another band around it. So this was in 54 and 55, and they replaced it in 2019.
So why can't they should have a because technically there's multiple Stanley Cups. There's one that sits in Toronto, and another story for another time. But they should have an ever growing Stanley Cup. So when a name, instead of taking names off, they just have the one maybe it sits in Toronto where they never take names off. It gets taller and taller, and then it becomes a Leaning Tower of Pisa, and there we go. So names can be forever etched on the Stanley Cup.
How many ounces of Gordie Howe's ashes could fit in the cup?
Oh, you were waiting for the moment. You were wrestling if you were actually going to do that, and you fired it off. Oh,
that was bad. Coming up next,
wasn't good. At least wasn't good.
It's What the Friday. We come your way next with that feature. Stay with us right here. Where are we going? It's Friday. Stay with us right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco.
Windy Las Vegas. Windy. Meteorology. Windy.
Well,
it's windy. Okay. It was actually kind of like a fall, eerie, stormy sky when I woke up, and now it's sunny and like this is the opposite of Seattle, right? Like Seattle, it's always windy and stuff, and when it gets sunny, you get a little weirded out. Like that's kind of how I am when it gets cloudy, but I'd rather be windy and cloudy and stormy. But this sucks.
Okay, you're saying Chicago and how you gauge the weather here. Come on, I could be a meteorologist. It's going to be hot today. Great. And the winds will be 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the west.
At least Ted Pretty on Fox, he's a big Golden Knights fan, so we'll give him credit for that.
Yeah. I don't know how they do that with everything there in the green screen. Okay.
Yeah, then like the angles and stuff. Okay, go ahead. What the Friday? Go ahead. You're dying to do it.
Oh, it's What the Friday. Oh, it's that time.
The whole show has been What the Friday, but go ahead.
Okay. Mark Stone is the new Phil Kessel. That's in my notes because he's not going to work out or anything. So WTF, ABBA, Dancing Queen, WTF, no Fridays given.
WTF. I saw Phil yesterday.
Seriously, he's still around. Did you ask him if he's playing in Switzerland?
Nah, we didn't talk about any of that stuff.
Come on. Seriously, you saw him?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The hot dog place? Where were you?
Okay, I was somewhere in Vegas. I was somewhere on the west side of Vegas. Somewhere on the west side of Vegas.
Undisclosed.
Close to Summerlin. All right. He's in good spirits. He's in good spirits. He loves Vegas. He loves Vegas.
Does he like it? He likes it here?
He likes it.
Okay. Cool, man.
Just really only What the Friday I got. Like March or so is just the gift that keeps on giving, at least for me, all summer long. You say the dude's name and you acknowledge like there's a possibility that something might happen where he's not in the Golden Knights next year. And
clickbait.
Like everyone just goes nuts on it. And I just don't understand. Again, possibility. Now, when I say possibility, that's just what it means. It's a possibility. When other people hear possibility, it's, oh my God, he's being traded. He's gone. This guy, he's so negative all the time. It's like, just listen and look and read and look at what the Golden Knights have done. Look at Kelly McCrimmon. McCrimmon doesn't care if he's a Conn Smythe winner. He didn't care that Marc-Andre Fleury was a Vezina winner. Didn't give a crap that Gerard Gallant won the Jack Adams. Like things change, situations change. And, this is maybe where things are a little different in Vegas than they are in Montreal. I read an article on Montreal Hockey Now last night when I was doing my daily article about how the general manager, Kent Hughes, I believe is his name. So Jeff Petrie was a Canadian 2 years ago, traded to Pittsburgh, traded back to Montreal.
They knew he was going to be on the move again, though. Yeah, they knew he was going to be.
They knew he was going to be flipped. Right
I don't
away,
think he even went back to Montreal.
Probably not. But right away, Hughes calls Petrie and says, "Listen, you got a family, dude. I think he's got 4 kids or something like that. We're gonna make this as quick as possible. We might sacrifice some trade in return. We want to make sure we take care of you and your family so you can get this done now." So he gets traded down to Detroit. Actually, gets traded to Detroit. They got 7 defensemen there now. It's a little bit of a crowded blue line, but that'll take care of itself. So it's a very nice story up in Montreal about how the general manager, he ate half his salary. He only got like a 4th round draft pick, did not get a very good return for Petrie, but he did the nice thing, right? Kelly McCrimmon doesn't do the nice thing. He does the thing that's going to possibly get banners hung from T-Mobile Arena. He's going to do what's in the team's best interest. He's going to do what's going to keep him employed by Bill Foley, who is addicted to that confetti. There you go, Pat McAfee, addicted to that confetti. And if Marchessault gets traded, it's in the team's best interest. If he doesn't get traded, and if he does get re-signed for 3 years and $6.5 million, that's in the team's best interest too. It's okay at least to acknowledge the possibility that there's going to be change on the roster. No one saw Riley Smith being traded. Who saw that? The answer is nobody. So, Marchessault could be traded too. And if he gets traded, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine. I promise. Everything's going to be okay.
WTF, Golick. I'm the other guy on this podcast. And Golick's getting all the pub for this Marchessault thing. And all I do is sit here and stir the pot. WTF.
No, your time to shine when William Karlsson gets an empty net goal, Tony. And then I'm the other guy.
You are the other guy.
I'm the other guy to that.
Okay, WTF. At this time last year, I was putting Kelly McCrimmon out to pasture. Remember?
Ooh, yeah.
I said he's going to be done.
We did a whole article about this. It was about a year ago.
Bad start. It's time to revisit that. If you need any quotes, you could just don't call me. Just refer.
I'll repost that over the weekend. I'll repost that.
WTF. So he seems to be on solid ground, at least for now, unless they get out to a bad start.
I mean, listen, Foley is the architect of all this, even though we say McCrimmon. Right. If things do go slow, Foley will axe McCrimmon. That's the gig. That's what happens.
I want both of the made men gone. I have had enough.
What do you mean you've had enough? The team won a Stanley Cup and you're outing McPhee and McCrimmon?
I've had enough. It's
Don't
all
we get enough
of them.
content, Tony? We don't need that
It's
much
all
overload. We'll have to
because
do
of
3 shows.
them.
We'll do 3 shows a day if McCrimmon and McPhee get fired this season. I don't want to do 3 shows a day.
I'll have the parade on Las Vegas Boulevard in between the cones. So I think, okay, for me, get just WTF, give my man, South Beach Bruce some credibility, and some credit. Give him some credit. WTF from
you don't think that you still don't think
I don't think they
McCrimmon and
do.
McPhee are giving him enough?
No, not at all.
What do you expect him? I mean, you want him to like more in the media
statue
and stuff?
Yeah, I'll put up the statue in front of.
But he got a statue before the season even started.
He did. He got the bust. It was.
Do
Vegas
McCrimmon and McPhee get bust this year?
Oh, geez Louise. They're doing patches, I think, this year.
Banners.
Oh, banners? Those are banners?
The preseason games, they're the little banners. They're like little banners or something like that.
Banners.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Aces did these big banners, which were really cool, that they gave away after the championship. Okay.
That's nice.
WTF, Deontay Rose, the ticket prices, but as champs, this comes with winning the cup. Haha, WTF.
Yeah.
How much have they gone up? You're a season ticket holder.
I think mine went up like 5 or 8%. Whatever the elevator, like it's in writing for season ticket holders, how much our tickets can go up. Now, for non-season ticket holders, if you want to go to the opening game, I think it's probably going to be like $300-400 a ticket just to walk in the door for the banner raising game. And next year, like season 2, the tickets there's going to be a much higher demand, and you're not going to see those pockets of empty seats that you saw during the previous season, especially in November, December, and January. I mean, I was on press row just showing, taking video of a lot of empty seats, a lot of pockets. Yes, they averaged their 105% last year, but a lot of people weren't showing up last year. A lot of people weren't showing up. At least the F1 traffic will hopefully be minimized once the season starts. There's only going to be like a month and a half of crossover, and then we move on from that nonsense.
WTF. Okay, I'm putting together a budget for a company for an F1 event. And so the people
that 6 figures or 7 figures.
So the people that I have to hire, though, they have a little clause in there because I don't have the actual venue. They haven't told me the venue yet. No, they haven't told me. They just told me what they need, right? And
okay.
Scope of work and things. But if the event happens on the strip in traffic, everything goes up about 20%. So,
are you doing a parade?
So
what are you arranging here, Tony?
No, it's a party.
Does your take go up 20% too?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. And WTF, right? How are you going to get across the street like on Koval? They were supposed to build bridges. Do those go up like overnight for pedestrians, or do we have the school traffic cops like slowing down the Formula One traffic and letting people walk across the street? I don't know how this works. WTF, Lord Stoneley. It's
going to be a circus. It's going to be a circus.
Lord Stoneley, man, we have to talk about him. The hat trick with the broken left wrist and the closeout game against Florida.
That's pretty cool.
WTF, that is so
WTF cool. Hockey players just for being beasts and what they do. WTF Riley Smith for another Stanley Cup photo looking at the water, him in the cup in the water. Like, what is it about
during the winter? I don't know, man.
What is it about like the Stanley Cup and like everyone wants to be on the beach with the Stanley Cup? That's the thing, or be on the water, be on the dock.
Oh, okay. So again, we have to keep things like moving here with the golden age and all that. So for the video, it should be on Golden Pond, with everyone with the cup and the.
I don't want to be in a yellow water. It's like yellow snow, Tony.
I have one big WTF here. Okay, stay with me here.
Oh boy.
And this is a serious one, sort of, from Hurricane Dasco today. So NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley says he has no specific timetable to announce the suspensions of those 5 players, which they keep putting under the stinking carpet. again involved in the World Juniors with the Canadian team and the sexual assault in 2018. They've had plenty of time now to sort through this. And a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it 2-3 weeks ago, they said it should be out shortly, as soon, as early as next week. Nothing. It was supposed to be announced a couple of weeks ago. And these will be suspensions, and they should be hefty fines and suspensions.
Lifetime. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's dating back to 2018. Brett Howden of VGK has denied his involvement, and that's probably one of the only reasons why we're keeping up with this story. But in any event, like, what are they waiting for to announce these suspensions the day before the first game? Cale Makar's name is out there. He was on that team. Anyone that was a member of the team right now could be vulnerable to wind up with a suspension in the future because they were part of this team, and there's 5 players. Bill Daly, get with it. NHL, this is one of the reasons why the NHL just disturbs me. WTF.
Forgive me. Is this like a situation with authorities involvement and police and
It's been going through. They
investigations?
started up the investigation again about a year ago.
Right.
NHL, in typical fashion, and Hockey Canada swept it under the carpet.
Right.
And Hockey Canada, as we know, they took all those fees from the dues and memberships and paid off a lot of the victims. This whole thing is just awful, and people are seeking answers. And it's not a big story here. It is a large, massive story in Canada.
Well, it'll become a story if they ever do announce, and I don't understand.
Yeah, but I want to see who those players are myself personally, right? Hold them accountable. But here we are 5 years later, and they keep delaying it and trying to play stupid games. This is what I don't like about the NHL. This
six weeks prior to the season. Like, I mean,
should have been done.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm done. I'll leave it at that. Should have been done. Okay. I'm with you.
WTF. We appreciate everyone tuning in. I had to go a little serious and use whatever.
It's important to bring up. It's important, and it needs to be acknowledged. And also, once
accountability
it's announced, it needs to be mentioned, and we'll talk about it. And it's part of news.
Right, it is news. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. Thanks for putting up with us each and every day.
Another week survived. You made it.
We made it through a week without getting cut, and they'll listen to today's show, of course, and that's how I'll be great.
We're gonna get red tagged like like Ricky Vaughn in Major League.
Hey, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Locked On Golden Knights. For my man Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We'll be back again on Monday, unless we call an audible. We should be back Monday right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Have a great weekend, everyone.